Hi, everybody. Rhonda Craig here. I'm coming to you tonight to do part 2, lesson number 12, which is part 2 of Joseph. I've already done my praying, so I'm not going to take time in your presence to pray. I've prayed for this to be. Last time when I left you, we left Joseph having interpreted the Pharaoh's dreams, and Pharaoh put him in charge of the 7 years of abundance and then the 7 years of famine, because that was his dream and he interpreted that. So Jacob was up in the land of Canaan, and Egypt is down south and west, I believe. And they were having a famine, and they needed food. And they knew, word got around that Egypt had the food. And so Israel told his sons to go down to Egypt and take the money and go down and buy food. When they get there and they walk in, and they had to go before Joseph, he recognizes them. They didn't recognize him. I'm sure he was all decked out in his Egyptian garb, and he was speaking the Egyptian language, and he recognized them. And so he accused them of being spies. They weren't there to buy food. They were there to spy and to bring trouble in their land. Oh, no, we are not. No. We're just 10 brothers. There was 12 of us, and one is no more, and one is still with our father. And, of course, he recognized all of that. Oh, no, he says, you're spies. I'm going to try to make this quick. So he says, I'm going to put you in prison. So he puts them in prison for 3 days, and then he comes back and he says to them, no, I'll tell you what, I'm going to keep one of you. The rest of you go back, and you get that. If you've really got a younger brother and you're not spies, you get that younger brother and you come back, and then I'll know you're telling the truth. That's what he told the interpreter to tell them. Well, they had this discussion, and they said, Reuben says, God's brought this on us. I tried to tell y'all, this is what we get for doing away with Joseph. And he heard them, and he understood what they were saying, and it really moved him, and he had to leave the room and weep. Anyway, long story short, they go they go back, they tell Israel about that. No, he says, I'm not letting Benjamin go. No. Reuben says, if you'll just do this, I promise you can put to death 2 of my sons if we don't bring him back. Israel says, no, I'm not doing it. So they eat up all the food. They run out. Israel says, okay, go back down to Egypt, and you try to bargain and get some more food. Take gold and all this stuff. And Judah told him, he won't even talk to us if we don't have that younger brother with us. And he said, I tell you what, I'll take full responsibility. If he doesn't come back, it'll be, you can blame me. But I promise he will come back. Now there's Judah. He's stepping up to the plate. So they go. And Joseph sees them when they come in. And they have Benjamin. And he realizes that's his brother. And he's really overcome with emotion. And so he tells his steward to go and kill the fatted calf and prepare a meal and have him come for lunch. Scares him to death. They tell the steward when they get to his house and take them to his own personal home. And by this time he has 2 sons of his own, Ephraim and Manasseh. And they tell the steward, look, we don't understand this. We don't know what's happened here. we know that somebody put the money back in our sacks when on our way, and but we brought it back. We brought it back, and it's yours, and we didn't intend for that to happen. And the steward says, "Don't be afraid. It's okay. Your God, the God of your father, has caused you to have these treasures. I received your silver." So I think the steward must have been in on it as well. Anyway, they eat. They can't even eat in the same room. But astounded, those brothers, because they were placed in the order of their birthdays, their age. And they didn't know how they would have known that. And Benjamin had 5 times as much on his portion to eat. Of course he did. That was his own brother by his mother. Well, the next morning they get up and they leave, and they have their grain sacks full, and everything is full, and he tells the steward, put their money back in their put it all back, and provisions for them for their trip. But in Benjamin's sack, put my silver cup. So he does that. Well, they head out. Sure enough, they hadn't gone very far, and he said, now overtake them and look for my cup. Sure enough. Oh, they said, no, we didn't take it. No, you sure, search everybody. If you find it, they can be your slave. Sure enough, they find it in Benjamin's sack. Well, they take them all back. Joseph sees them, take them in front of Joseph. He says, all the rest of you can go, but he's going to be my slave. He stole my cup. This is how you repay. Now he's telling all this through his interpreter. And here's Judah. Judah steps up, and he says, May I approach? May I have a word with you, please? And he tells him the story that this is his father's youngest, and he had made the promise that if he didn't bring him back, it would be his fault. He said, take me as your slave, but let the boy go back. It will absolutely kill our father. It will just kill him. Take me. Joseph is overcome with emotion. And he tells all the Egyptian attendants, all the officials to leave, and only the brothers and him are there, and he reveals himself to them and talks to them and tells them, and of course they're astounded and don't believe it at first, and then they weep so loudly that the whole household around heard it. And he says, you go back and you get our father. Everything you own, everything you have, flocks, children, grandchildren, everything you own. I'm sending carts to transport everything, and you come back, and I'm going to take care of you the rest of your life, and we'll put you in the land of Goshen. I remember my grandma used to say, oh, land of Goshen, and I didn't know what that meant, but they were to live in the land of Goshen. Now, when Pharaoh hears about this, he is pleased that they're coming, and he sends carts. He said, I'm going to send carts, and you don't need to bring anything. You will have the best Egypt has to offer, and you will be in the best land. So that's where they came, and they were put in the land of Goshen and taken care of, and they had like 5 more years of that famine. When he revealed himself to them, and they apologized for their actions of selling him and he says to them, no, I do not blame you. This was God's will for me to take care of our people. This was God's will. See, he never forgot his God this whole time. Later on, when Jacob dies or Israel dies, those brothers say to themselves and to each other, well, now our father is dead, and he can do now to us what he always wanted to do, and he'll probably kill us now. Let's go and let's throw ourselves on his mercy and beg for our lives. And so they do that. But Joseph says to them, and this is my scripture. I stand on Genesis 50:20 almost every day of my life. This is my go-to. He said, paraphrasing here, what you meant for my harm, God meant for my good and to preserve our people. And it did. So I'm going to leave you now, and that kind of finishes up with Joseph. Later, when Joseph dies and they do exit Egypt, I'm getting ahead of myself. I think they took his bones with them when they go. But anyway, that's for another day. Hope you got something out of this. Joseph is one of my very favorite stories because it really moves your heart. I will catch you in the next one, and I think we're about ready to start Moses. Yay! Now, who lived first, Noah or Moses? Now you know. Noah lived first. Moses is coming up. Have a good one.